Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Thank you very much for joining me on this 31 video series I'm doing during July. I really hope you're enjoying them as much as I am doing them. I've got a release video for you. Now I can go on for days about release and the different types of release and how to release, but I'm going to show you a little simple way to introduce a little bit more release to your swing. And remember, there's different types of release: hand and arm, body release, leg release. I'm going to show you all three. I'm going to tell you what it is. You can do it with any club. I'm just going to do it with my iron there, get the front camera set up, and hope the sun stays out, and then we'll see you in a bit. Okay everyone, thanks for joining me for another video. Really hope you're enjoying this series I'm doing during July. I'm going to do a release video. Now, like I said in the intro, I could stand here for a good few hours and talk about the different types of release, how to release, really get into the nitty gritty of it. But I'm going to give you a couple of simple ways here that you can introduce a bit more release to your swing. Either that's hand, arm, body, or legs. And I'm going to tell you what influence that has over the golf club and over your body parts and how much you should or shouldn't do it. Okay, so let's start with the most common fault I see. People who come over the top, hold on to it because they have to, otherwise it will go too far to the left. Got the chicken wing, hand, my bottom hand is too much under, so there's not enough kind of effective hand roll, we call it. So the club isn't coming from the inside and rolling over. So one little exercise you can do, which I really love, feet quite close together so it stops you moving around, so you can keep quite stationary, and just do little one arm swings. So you can see from kind of the back view there, the club is pointing up, there's a little bit of angle to it, and then from there I'm just completely rolling over. Now that's if you're right-handed. I'm right-handed, so I like to feel it in my right hand, but you can definitely do it in your left as well. So you're just kind of pointing your thumb up and pointing your thumb up either side of the ball. What you're not doing, what I see a lot of people try and feel like they're releasing the club, is they scoop it. So you can see my left wrist here is kind of completely broken down. If I face that front camera there, you can see there's too much cup there, which is then encouraging more loft on the club. So you're not releasing it properly. Yes, the club's going past you, but you're now scooping it. What you're looking for the complete roll of your left hand or your right hand. But let's say with your left, so I'm feeling like the club's dropping down, and from about here I'm really rolling it. So from a very small area I'm rolling my hand very quickly. So you can do this little exercise here either with your left hand. So from about here I can see a lot of my knuckles and my fingers. So you can see in a very short space of time I'm completely rolling over, and obviously that's too much, that would produce a little draw. Or you can do it with your right hand. So you can do this little exercise, which is kind of just past my toes as I look down to either side of the ball. So you're really encouraging a little bit more efficiency of the wrist. Now obviously we don't play golf like that. We introduce a little bit more arm swing, which you can, either hand or either arm, and you're introducing a little bit more snap and roll down the bottom. Okay, nice and softly. It's not a distance exercise, feet a little bit more narrow, and we're really going to feel like this left hand, this logo, is going to point as far down to the ground as early as possible. It's really going to fold up my arm here instead of having to hold on and chicken wing it. And you can see there a nice little bit of draw. There's a few people in the comments have said to me that they feel like they can't release it, and is that just pros only? Because they feel they really find it hard to kind of square this club up. Now, in my experience of coaching people who have got like a passive release, they need to feel like they're going to do it earlier. So what I mean by that is, don't feel it more. You can feel it as much as you can. So you can see my roll here. But if this club face is open, that's telling you need to feel like you're going to roll these hands a little bit earlier. So I'm going to feel now, just for demonstration purposes, and this ball should go left now, is I'm going to feel from about here, my hands start rolling over. So the club faces start closed. So my objective now for the next two balls is I'm going to feel like I'm going to close this club face down a bit earlier. And that should go left and draw. And there we go. My objective, remember that's not right, but that's my objective for these next two balls. It's an earlier release, not more, because a lot of people with a passive release, I see them releasing too late. The ball's already 50 yards off the club face. Feel it a little bit earlier than you think. So I'm going to feel it. By the time my hands get to my kind of pocket area, I'm going to start rolling them over. Should go left. That went even further left than the previous one. Beautiful. Okay, so you might be asking me the question, well, I don't want to play golf hitting it left either. So you might be late in your release and leaving it out to the right, but as much as that's causing you problems, you don't want to hit it left either. How do I stop that? So you can still feel the same feeling, you can still feel the early release, but remember what I said at the start, there's 3 areas of release. There's hands and arms, there's body, and there's leg release. People who slice it need two out of those 3. They need hand and arm release, and they need leg release. Generally, people who slice it are too open. They've already got that built into their natural swing. To stop that going left, I'm going to do the same release feeling, so I'm going to still release it kind of round my right pocket area, still feel this right hand, kind of this logo, imaginary logo if I was wearing a glove, pointing down to the ground as early as I can. But I'm going to introduce some lateral shift, and this is with every club, by the way. What that's going to do, that's going to encourage the club to be open. So the more I do that without releasing, you can see what's happening. It's pushing my hands open, and it's pushing the club open, exaggerated obviously for effect. Now, those 2 feelings can counterbalance each other. Let me show you. Still feel the same release, early release, which hit it left like the previous shot, but now I'm going to introduce some lateral shift, and this shouldn't go left. Should draw, start right and draw. So I really got off my right side there, which kept the club face neutral, and you can see there, I tried to release that, and the ball's gone right. So that's told me I need to introduce a bit more release here, a little bit more earlier release. I've done enough lateral shift, a little bit more narrow in my stance than I would. I'm not going to hit this full out, but I'm going to have an earlier roll. That felt better. So the ball's going to tell you what area of your body to work on, starting up the right and draw. It's all about timing. Do I work on a little bit more lateral shift, which is probably going to keep the club face open, or do I work on a little bit more roll? If I've got trouble down the right, I can make sure I really roll my hands early and make sure that ball does not start out to the right, or stay out to the right, I should say. There we go, beautiful. Educate your hands to release. You can do that little 1-arm swing, which I love. Remember, logo down, as early as you can. Logo down. I'm going to say something quite controversial, and people might kind of comment to say, well, I do it. I've only seen 2 or 3 people in my lifetime over-release it. It's really difficult to over-release it if you do it properly. One trap to fall into, so golfers try and release it who probably come over the top. They release it with their top half. This is a hand and arm only, remember. That's why I've got you to kind of narrow your feet in a little bit, because if you use your top half, you'll fall over. So you'll get a bit more kind of feedback that way. And I'm really rolling my hand, really rolling. If I take my right hand off, I can see most of my hand there looking towards me. I can see a lot of my fingers. What you don't want to do, if you stop and if you flicked it and cupped it too much, you can see I can't see any of my fingers here. So you're really trying to roll that logo down. And obviously on the follow through, you just let it go. So I can't feel this, so I just have to trust it. But the golf ball will tell me. A little bit of lateral at the same time. I thinned it. It felt like it was going down the middle, a little bit out to the right. I can't feel what's going on down there. I have to trust it. And remember, trust is, I know if I do a lateral shift, I'm not going to hit it left. Let me show you. See, that was more out to the right, because I definitely felt an earlier lateral shift there. And there you can see, it's a guaranteed anti-left shot. So if you're over-releasing it, you can really feel some kind of right side. Get off your right side. That keeps the inside approach to that ball, and then you can really fire it at the same time. I would say it's a dual feeling. Off your right side, lateral shift, get your pockets going forward, get your knee going towards your left toe, off your right shoe, and then at the same time you're really feeling the roll of your wrist. And that's going to help you draw it. It wasn't the best strike in the world. What's the ball told me? Lovely. You can see I've probably matched that up quite nicely there. So just to answer a couple of questions that I had, if your ball is starting left and drawing, that's basically telling you that the path of your club is a little bit out to in, with a closed club face to that path as well. So introduce a little bit more lateral. That's going to get you a little bit more inside, so the ball won't start left, and then you can introduce a little bit more release. Or if you want the ball to start right and fade, you need a club face that's slightly open to that path. So to help with that, you need a little bit more passive release. You've probably got a path that's out to in with a little bit of a roll. So let me show you what that means. So if I'm looking down at that ball, that clock face, your ball's coming kind of north of 3 o'clock as I look down. Club's coming down into the ball, probably north of 3 o'clock, and it's kind of going left with a closed club face. That's what's hooking the ball, starting left and hooking it. What you want to do, you want to try and feel like this club's coming slightly under 3 o'clock, and then it can roll naturally and start up the right. Or if you want to the ball to fade, you can let the club come in on that out to in path, but the club face needs to be open. It needs to be open, it doesn't need to be rolling. So you want to try and keep your hand under. So let me try that. So this ball should start left and fade, and keeping that hand from rolling over there. So remember, there we go. So there's two different types of release there. And if that ball is too passive, it's staying out to the right or even fading, you definitely need some more release here. So a little bit of a roll. Remember, you're just practicing the roll of your wrists. So in your backswing, you kind of got logos pointing kind of out towards you, kind of where the front camera is. Left thumb up in the air. But from here, from about here, you're really feeling like this roll. Remember, I haven't seen anyone over release it, only 2 or 3 people in my lifetime. Really feel like this is going down as much as you can. Remember, to counteract that, some kind of lateral shift onto your front leg, and that's going to stop that club from over releasing. Okay, let's go full out now. Going to really feel some lateral shift off my right side and really feel my logo pointing down early. That felt the best one out of all of them. Should definitely draw. I definitely felt some hand release there. And remember, there's different types of release. I'll put a few videos, and I've done a lot of videos on the channel about release. I'll put them in the description below. How we're blending and getting all this mix and getting them all together and all the cogs working in the right order. And if you can do that, you'll get more consistent golf, especially about where the ball starts and what it does in the air in terms of spin. And the difficult thing about golf, isn't it? Because we can't feel what's going on down there, we can't control it. So remember, it's being able to kind of counterbalance these two feelings. A slicer of the ball with an out to in path, if they release it, the ball's going to go left. So what you want to try and do, you want to try and really get them in a position where they can release it as much as they can. So thanks everyone for sticking around this long, if you've made it this far. Really hope you're enjoying these videos, and I love doing them, and I love hearing all the positive comments. Taking up quite a lot of time doing it, that's for sure, because the editing process takes 4 or 5 hours. I know it's kind of, they look quite simple. Some videos are a little bit simpler than others, but yeah, editing all my waffle, it sometimes isn't easy. But no, I really appreciate everyone's comments. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to watch the videos. And if you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you along as part of the community, and please consider subscribing or even just liking the video. That'd be a real help. Thank you very much. Okay everyone, sun's still shining. I'm off to walk Trev, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great golfing day if you're playing. Hope the sun's shining where you are, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching everyone. Cheerio.